God, he's heavy, you grunted as you stopped for a second to get a better grip of the boy on your neck. Currently, you were walking back from the training grounds right before curfew, and you were practically dragging your feet across the pavement while you carried an unconscious Bakugo as gently and lightly as possible. You had his body on your back, carrying him in a piggyback style. One of his arms were thrown over your left shoulder, and his head rested on your right one, while you held his thighs. Your muscles were sore from the earlier excessive training. Your arms and back were littered with burns and bruises, and your tired legs could hardly carry the weight of your body and also your friend's slightly heavier body. He wasn't doing any better, though. He too had bruises and a few tiny cuts from your attacks as well. And of course the obvious, he was out cold like a drunk person. If you had to explain everything that happened just 15 minutes ago in a nutshell, simply, you and Bakugo were sparring together in the school gym area, and as you were throwing punches and kicks at each other, Bakugo had said something that especially got on your nerves, and you accidentally kicked him in the back of the head a little too hard, and he was out like a light. Whatever you did, he wouldn't wake up. You couldn't just leave him there or wait for him to wake up since you had a curfew. So you opted to just carry him back to the dorms, and it was way harder than you thought. The 1A Heights Alliance building came into your view, and you sighed out of relief, but also out of nervousness. What if Bakugo woke up before you could get him to his room, and he gets angry at you for literally trying to help him? The boy was full of pride and didn't want anyone's help, even if he needed it. So if he woke up to see you carrying him like a kid, you probably would have an extra bruise by the end of the night. You weren't ready to be blasted all the way to hell just yet. Even so, as much as he seemed to act like a villain in some people's eyes, you and some other people like Kirishima saw through his facade. Bakugo just didn't know how to connect with people since his pride was in the way, and how growing up everybody basically worshipped and praised his stupidly powerful quirk and intelligence. It didn't matter if a person is shy, happy, angry, evil, or neutral. Everyone needs someone to talk to, and a person to call a friend. Or, in Bakugo's case, an extra. You were one of the people he tolerated. You and him would talk about topics that came to mind, study silently, or just bicker to each other about something irrelevant. It was nice in its own weird way. People are kind of like puzzles. Some puzzles aren't as easy as they seem. You have to learn to understand how to solve it before actually doing so. Or you could do both simultaneously and enjoy the in-betweens of the journey. Bakugo was just a really hard one that tested your patience and your own temper. Even after all the headaches and insults that this boy threw at you, your friends, and classmates, you still couldn't deny your attraction towards him. Hell, he was good-looking, talented, and passionate about what he does. Plus, he was such a softie on the inside, if people took the time to actually observe. Goodness, why did he have to be so perfect at everything? It was getting on your nerves. Still, you pushed your own thoughts aside and continued on with your life as normal. You were happy, and your presence didn't seem to irritate him, so you accepted the reality and were grateful of what you had. You walked up the small stairway, up to one of the Class 1A dormitory doors, and with each step, you were almost shitting your pants when Bakugo let out pained groans as if he was gonna be awake soon. Sure, you were friends, but it didn't mean you weren't at least a little bit nervous around him. You reached the front door and attempted to open the door while trying not to drop the mail on your back. You pulled down the handle, only to realize it's locked. Fuck. You cursed silently. You did have your keys. You always do. But they were in your back pocket, and you were in no position to get them unless you wanted to wake up your friend and face his wrath. You tried awkwardly knocking on the door with your foot and knee, but it didn't go too well. You took the risk and knocked on the door like a human being, and quickly retreated back to hold Bakugo's other leg. After a few moments, you heard movement from the inside, and the door opened soon after. You were met with a blonde-haired teen whose quirk reflected his hair in the form of a black lightning bolt. Kaminari looked at you two for a second, before stepping aside and opening the door wider, allowing you to get in.
"Hey, just what were you two doing?"
he began, but you cut him off as soon as you stepped inside.
"It's definitely not what you think, so don't even say it."
Then what? The boy was cut off again, but by Kirishima.
"Whoa, what happened to Bakugo? He's totally out of it."
Kirishima came out of nowhere and started to gently poke Bakugo's cheek to see if what he said was actually real.
"Don't wake him up!"
you whisper shouted. All the commotion had got some students' attention into the common area, and it was getting kind of embarrassing when you thought about it from their perspective.
"I don't want to be his next punching bag, so can you please quiet down?"
Okay. Back to what I asked. What happened?"
You sighed. "Long story short, we were sparring and I accidentally kicked him in the head. Hard," you explained. "He should be fine." At least, you hoped he was fine.
"Wow, well this is a first. Nobody's ever been able to get that kind of a hit on Bakugo. I think you deserve a medal."
Mina elbowed you lightly in the arm in a teasing manner. "Seriously, the bomb is bound to explode soon if your classmates don't keep it down. Guys, please, just let me get him to his room quietly before he—" It was too late. Bakugo began stirring in his sleep and let out more pained grunts. Your friends all held their breath as they realized they might have messed up, while you were just standing there, with sweat forming on your forehead. "Please don't be mad, please don't be mad, please don't be mad, please don't be mad," you prayed, as if the spirit heard you. Bakugo, in fact, didn't wake up, but was half asleep and mumbling gibberish in your shoulder. You mouthed, "Let's just go," to Kirishima, and he nodded. You began to move again, but stopped abruptly as you felt an arm snake around your torso and a second hug your neck. Everyone present watched the scene in awe as Bakugo clung to you like a child to a stuffed animal.
"So soft,"
he mumbled in your neck. You blushed profusely, while some people around you gave either shocked or smirking faces. The latter was more prominent.
"Oh, you were in deep now."
You and Kirishima swiftly rode the elevator up to the correct floor, and Kirishima opened Bakugo's door to let you carry him inside.
"So warm."
Bakugo kept on mumbling, but it still seemed like he hasn't woken up. Or enough so to remember anything after today, at the very least.
"Okay, it's time to rest now, Bakugo. Let go,"
you said, as he walked over to the said boy's bed and sat on it. Kirishima helped you pry Bakugo's limbs off of you, and you were finally free. You went to get up, but you were stopped midway when a hand grabbed your wrist.
"Where are you going?"
Bakugo whispered, his eyes still closed. Is this the same Bakugo you've come to school with and hung out with on your free time? Because in any other case where you would have found him like this from somewhere, you would have been convinced this Bakugo was a decoy. Or,
"It kinda reminds me of a drunk person,"
Kirishima boldly blurted out. Or that. You would have laughed right now, but it felt wrong to do so. So you just ended up nodding that you were thinking the same thing. Before you two actually left the common room, Kirishima had grabbed a cold gel pack from the freezer to press on the injured boy's head. He stepped closer and pressed the pack carefully on the spot you pointed out. The blonde boy hissed a bit, but didn't wake up, let alone let go of your hand.
"You think he's gonna be alright?"
Kirishima asked next to you. "I don't think this will cause anything critical. I didn't kick him that hard, but surely enough to form a bump," you explained. "Plus, he's been really tired lately for some reason, so he'll probably sleep until tomorrow. I'll take him to Recovery Girl tomorrow, just in case. Hell, I'll even drag him there if you won't cooperate."
"Yeah, if you say so. And, thanks for caring for him."
"He's my friend too, you know. Of course I would care for him."
Yeah, but I just said it so that you would at least get a thank you. You know how he is.
The crimson-haired boy motioned to the ash blonde.
I know.
Bakugo groaned and mumbled something incoherent again, and it got both of yours attention. He pulled on your wrist for you to get closer, and you complied, shifting a little closer so that you could hear what he had to say.
Thank you, babe,
he said, and let his head fall onto the pillow, at last getting some precious sleep. You became a blushing mess, while Kirishima did his damned hardest not to laugh too loudly, so he resorted to snickering like some spray window cleaner bottle.
What did he just...
You whisper shouted, not knowing how to react.
Oh man, I knew it!
Kirishima whispered to himself proudly. He may be a bit weaker in school, but he was an expert when it came to knowing his friends and peers. You gently, but swiftly, untangled Bakugo's fingers from your wrist, stood up to pull his blanket over him so he wouldn't get cold, and left the room in a hurry, with Kirishima trailing right behind you. The said boy was still snickering, while you hid your red face in your hands. You already felt embarrassed from the comment alone, but Kirishima being there made it 2 times worse.
I'm so dead!
Please, don't tell the others, Kiri.
My lips are sealed.
Here's my little, blip blip blip. This fanfiction is written by Zia X Kawaii over at ziaxkawaii.tumblr.com. Please visit their blog and show them some love for these amazing works that they've written. Thank you so much for allowing me to read this on the channel. As always, if you have any fanfiction suggestions that you would like for me to write, or any fanfictions that you've written that you'd like for me to read, be sure to leave a link in the comments below, or send me your fanfictions that you've written to any of my social media outlets as posted on the screen. When leaving a fanfiction request, please be sure to leave a scenario like any of these amazing people have done for me already. That way I have an idea of what to write for you. Why did I say that? That was really weird. For you. Don't ever put me on the Home Shopping Network, because I won't be able to sell jack squiggity. Hey there, would you like a blender? It has so many great settings for you. You better hang on to your monkeys, because this deal is bananas. Oh my god. Anyway, let's get into it. You reached the front door, and attempted to open the door while... Kaminari looked at you two for a second, before stepping aside and opening the door wider, allowing you to get in. I'm just laughing because I know this is about to be some bullshit that Kaminari's about to talk about. Bakugo just didn't know how to connect with people. Same. It's called social anxiety. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. Bold to assume Bakugo has friends. Also, listener, let's just appreciate your raw strength, because you're really out here, like, carrying Bakugo, Katsuki by yourself. I don't care if you're failing at school. Actually, I do. Do well at school, kids. But you know, you were able to carry Bakugo Katsuki by yourself. And that in itself, that's something. It's the little things, guys. The little things. Honestly, shouldn't Kirishima be helping? Like, good sir is over here like 200 pounds of pure muscle. You could assist. So he resorted to snickering like some spray window cleaner bottle. Ew! Kirishima's out here spitting all over the place. That's one of those laughs. That's like...